stream won't load for me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RSCast. Something's going wrong with the cameras right now, not loading at all. Let me just get that up in 2 minutes. But I've got Senji and Boopy with me. Not on cams, unfortunately, at the moment. But we will go to the Prospect Weekly review to start.
Yeah, hello from my side as well.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
first thing I want to come to, I don't know what your notes entail this week, but how about we start with Prelude this week?
For sure. I mean, really, really good week for Prelude. Prelude versus Mages. That was a very good result for them. Mages, obviously one of the top teams in Ignis. Getting a 3-1 against them is definitely what they were looking for, and also facing off against Orbit as well, getting the 4-0. So a good 7-1 week for them.
Yeah, indeed. They have rose through the standings in Ignis so far, but you also mentioned Orbit prior to the stream. Boopy, what can you tell us about them?
Yeah, well, not the best week for Orbit, obviously, facing off against Prelude, one of the top teams in Ignis, getting 0-4, and then facing Digestives, a bit of a surprising result there. Digestives obviously being lowest in the conference, losing out 3-1 to them. It's definitely not what Orbit were looking for, but very, very good there for Digestives. It means they're getting those results in and starting to kind of climb up the table, and maybe we'll see them kind of dark horse. Maybe we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and heading to the other side, Senji, I think we can only start in one place, and that is Kindling.
Oh, most certainly. I mean, Kindling and also Excellent, and they're just slashing through this conference at the moment, showing in this week as well, going 7-1 and 6-2 versus some respectable teams. In, for example, Cardinals from an Excellent game, or even Bing from Kindling, who 4-0'd the third place. You don't just do that for nothing. So great performances by those two teams in Glacis.
Yeah, and what about Fearless Bravo on the other side as well, winning the cross conference against Tartaros and beating Hot Metal? We did predict a good season for them, and it looks like they've finally getting a bit of chemistry in week 3.
They definitely seem to be getting up there. I mean, obviously going in a 6-2 week is good, whoever you are, with whatever team you're playing against. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, and we will head to the prospect standings in Glacis just to see the rising of the teams. And obviously we see Kindling and Excel on there. Same top 4 as last week, but can you tell us about the movers, Booper?
Yeah, well, Microfaction and Tartarus having a few good weeks, moving up. Microfaction and Cardinals kind of tied in that 4th and 5th at the moment, both at 12 games. Tartarus sitting on 11, Oberon then on 10, and Kara and Gemini Storm kind of sitting in not the best position, 8th and 9th at the moment. They're quite far away from the other teams win-wise, and even a sweep, apart from Caro. If they get a sweep, they'll move up one position, but they're not sitting in the best position, and they kind of need to get a few more kind of better results in to move themselves up.
Yeah, and Oberon will be the most disappointed here, going 2-6 this week. But we will head to the Ignis standings, Senji. And what can you tell us about here? A lot of movement this week.
Oh, definitely. It has been shuffling a bit around, but especially the rise of Prelude to not just put themselves into the first position, but also get themselves a little bit of a gap to second, which is Terra at the moment. It's definitely showing what a great week Prelude has had and solidifies their position in first. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them there again. Then, obviously, Mages had the unfortunate happening of facing Prelude this week. So they had to get down a bit, and the rest of the standings is just shuffling a little bit around. but still relatively close in terms of games.
Indeed, and looking at the week 4 schedule, BP will start with you. What games can you point out for the next week coming?
Well, I definitely want to see. Well, personally, there might be a bit of bias in there, but I do want to see Terra versus Majors. Majors obviously a very strong team. Terra a strong team as well. So just seeing them face off, and who is kind of the better team. Also, obviously, the cross conference games are going to be quite interesting. Lemusin versus Microfaction, two kind of mid table teams, kind of just judging kind of which conference really is the stronger conference, and yeah, pretty much.
And what about you, Senji? What games have you picked out this week?
I am especially looking forward to Bing versus Exelon in the Glaciers conference. Then I gotta say I'm a little bit afraid of Kindling versus Tartarus. And on the other side, obviously Prelude versus Fearless Bravo could be a very nice game to watch.
Yeah, one game I would pick out as something that could kickstart people's seasons are Limousine versus Orbit and Digestives versus Hot Metal on the Ignis side. Two teams that haven't necessarily performed as well as they could have this season, like they did last season. But I think they'll be looking to have two good series there to push them up the table. But we will head over to the Challenger weekly review now. And Bupu, will start with you. What can you tell us about the Glacis conference this week?
Well, first of all, Scorn with that insane roster change, as we have mentioned many times before. Pretty solid week for them. 3-1 against Nezuko Gang. 2-2 against Epsilon. That was a very close series. Definitely kind of a deserved draw there. But then not the best, really, not the best week for Spark, going 1-3 to Nezuko Gang and getting swept by Orcus. And Orcus with an 8-0 week, 4-0
Yes,
Spark
sir.
and 4-0 Atlas. So a little bit of bias coming out from Senji there, but what a performance from Orcus this week.
Yeah, brilliant performance from Orcus, but one team on the Ignis side that I want to gloss over, and they did play in the COS conference and take down the second place in Glacies, is Chorus. Senji, what can you tell us about Trung's teams who are doing a fantastic job recently?
Definitely. I mean, Chung has been a staple in the GMs since season 6, I believe. And he's always had great teams, and his chorus side just proves again and again why they are up at the top in Ignis standings and go undefeated this week. But I also kind of want to take a little bit of an appreciation for Party Rings, who were finally able to get a win, and not just a win, it was a sweep versus Parthenize, which is probably the least successful team at the moment we have in the RSC. But congratulations to Party Rings to finally get a win.
One series I do want to mention this week was Masai versus Atlas, and Boopy, I'm not sure whether you were casting over this, but this was a brilliant series to get Masai back up the standings, because after a 4-0 loss to Yahoo, it was a much needed win, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't casting over that one, but I was watching the stream, and yeah, I think Shez was saying how he really didn't expect to going into that one to get the 4-0. He knew that they were a really strong team that they were facing, kind of looking at kind of a 1-3, a 2-2, and they just kind of kept the momentum, got the first two games and just ran with it and got the 4-0. So congrats to them. Really good result for them, and very well deserved.
Really well deserved indeed, and we do see these movements reflect on the table. And Senji, what can you tell us about Glacis standings this week?
I mean, there's kind of two groups starting to separate each other a little bit. That being the top three, being within one single game, and then the bottom six in a way, and it is still relatively close. And there's a little subgroups in 4 to 6 and 7 to 9, but only time will tell where those teams end up. But I think this is kind of the point in the season where we start to getting like some direction where it might be headed.
Yeah, you did speak of time, and I will give you time to get that snipping tool out of your PC just to get that memory of Orcus being third. I don't think I've seen one of your teams this high up in a league table before, so catch it while you can. All jokes aside,
I'll wait for next week when the next Ado week is coming in and we're sitting on top.
all jokes aside, if you have used your snipping tool, we'll go over to Ignis now. And what can you tell us about this one, Boopy? We spoke about Chorus, and they've risen the highest to first.
Yeah, they have. They've had a really good week. Unfortunately, my team was second. I did hope they would keep second, but knocked down 2/3 by Chorus, just having a really, really good week. And rightly so, taking the top spot. But we have three teams here kind of pulling away from the rest with 18, 17, 17 wins, obviously being Chorus, Pyromancers, and Neptunium. And then kind of the next four are very, very close. Fearless Kilo on 12, Satellite, overall, and Apprentices all on 11, Party Rings on 9. So that part of the table is very close. And then Parthenase just having a very unfortunate season. I think they have lost a few players. They will be looking to rebuild it, and maybe we'll see them kind of work with their roster, make a few changes, and start grinding up the table.
Yeah, one team I do want to mention though is Fearless Kilo. They had a really poor season last season, along with a lot of Fearless teams, I think. And they've found themselves rising from 6th to 4th this week, and really solid week, don't you think, for them, Senju?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we've gone over them a little bit before, and they just seem to be rising the table, and I hope for them and Buddha that they will continue to do so.
Indeed, and we'll see who these teams play next week. And it doesn't look very good for Parthenase here if you take into account that they have to play Chorus, Booper.
Not at all. Chorus, one of the strongest teams. Obviously, Parthenase you've been speaking about, just not having the greatest start. And it's another tough week for them. Obviously, they have another cross-conference game against Masai. Masai was quite low on the table, I do believe. But again, obviously getting that 4-0 yesterday, signing a few new players. So definitely potentially a very strong roster there. And Parthenase maybe struggling, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. As well as that, Orcus obviously having a great week, as Senji very, very excited about, but they do have to face Yahoo as well. Yahoo, one of the top teams in Challenger, and that's going to be a very difficult game for them.
Yeah, and that game is tomorrow, and I do have to do the stream polls after this stream, so maybe if we've got the availability tomorrow, we'll look at these teams. But Senji, who else other than Orcus Yahoo can you pick out on the Glacis side?
I mean, Orcus definitely is going to be a great game and a sweep, hopefully. But apart from that, we're obviously also looking a little bit over to the Ignis side where we have the game of Pyromancers versus Chorus. Like, we've got one top 3 clash in Glacis, and we've got another top 3 clash in Ignis, or better said, even a top 2 clash. And I think that is definitely going to be another great game to witness this week, which is going to be on Thursday. So maybe stream schedules, if it works, another one for you all to vote for. And what I'm also going to be interested in is not just the Parthenise game versus Chorus. Obviously, Parthenise being the team of Heki, and him being my old GM, I do want to see him get up out of that slump that team is in currently. And they face Masai, who are also a little bit below in the table, but in the Glacis conference, so a low table fight in cross conference. I'm gonna look forward to that one.
Yeah, one game I would like to see is Overrule versus Satellite. Not two big teams right now, but two mid-table ones and looking to boost their season up. And I think Overrule need to make a big statement after I think they went 3-5 this week. So yeah, looking forward to these games this week indeed. But we go to minor week 3 results, and Boopoo, will start with you. What results can you pick out this week?
Well, we have to speak about Prominence, obviously, having a really, really, really good week for them. 4-0 against Vanguards, and then the stream match 2-2 against Toxin. Really good result for them. Obviously sitting in 8th place, but they really didn't look in that series. And definitely one of a very good team in that conference. I do expect to see them moving up, but as well as that, we have Arena Tribe. A few inconsistent results, in my opinion, because a 3-1 against Toxin, which in my mind is a really, really good result. But then I hate to boost Senji's ego here, but Erebos 3-1ing Arena Tribe, really good result for Erebos.
I
Not
wanted to
not
talk
so
about that one.
not so good in the cross conference though, Senji.
Yeah, definitely not. And I mean, we've had the cross conference game right before RSCast last week, and Archeon just said, "Hey, you need to move up." And what did we do? Next game, we won. That's how easy it is. We need a little pep talk by Archeon, and then we're just good.
All you need, all you need.
But apart from that, and obviously also looking at other teams, I think one of the outstanding teams is Uranium. Obviously, getting the sweep in cross conference versus us, and then the 3-1 victory over Journeyman in their own conference. And on the same page as them is Overkill. This week a little bit worse, with only going 5-3 versus Comet and Sorceress, though, which are two great teams.
Yeah, just picking up on what you guys said, I think this was one of the most inconsistent results, weekly wise, for the big teams, if you could say, in minor.
Mm.
It's gone relatively close. You can see Safari winning one, losing one. Toxin going 3-5, but staying top somehow. Arena Tribe, after beating Toxin, should go on and beat Erebos, but they lose that game. So it's all topsy turvy right now, and Prominence are the biggest biggest people to take advantage of this result, because going 6-2, it's a team I rate really highly in this tier as well. Just not picking up results in the first 2 weeks, and yeah, getting a fabulous draw on stream. But looking at the Custard Creams as well, they have had their fair share of roster issues so far this season, and picking up a 5-3, helping the confectionery out after a pretty slow start to the season, Booper.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, losing World, a really, really undervalued player. Going on to have a pretty good week, 2-2 against Montbéliard. And Montbéliard, a team I do rate very, very highly. A very strong team. Despite having two challenges, they just have a really interesting playstyle that seems to just work for them. And they're really getting good results. But again, a 2-2 against Custard Creams, and then Custard Creams obviously winning out against Fearless Echo. Fearless Echo as well, 3-1ing Concerto. Um, so really good results kind of all round for some of these teams.
Yeah, indeed. And one team I really want to pick up on, though, they finished bottom last week, and they've gone 6-2 this week, with a lot of players being standout team of the week this week, and that's Comet Senji. What can you tell us about them?
I could mostly tell you that they've had a great week. Obviously, with taking on Journeyman, which is, looking at the table, one of the weaker teams in the conference. They had a how we called it in German, a task you have to do, and they've completed it to how they wanted to do it. So, and that also always needs some confidence. And then they went versus Overkill and got a draw out of that, which is an astonishing result for them. It's a great week overall by Comet.
Indeed, we will see later on a lot of the players there, in and around the players of the week. But as we move on to the minor standings in Glacis, Boopy, what can you tell us on this side?
Well, as you said earlier, a bit topsy turvy. Toxin keeping their number one spot, only to goal difference. 15 wins for them, 15 wins for Safari, who have also moved up. Hydra dropping down into 14. Arena Tribe sitting at 13. Yoruba, Ember 12-12, and it's all very close. Only 3 games between 6th and the top spot. And then Vanguard's Prominence, Erebos, kind of a little bit lower down. Only 3 games between 7 and 6th. Well, I say only, it's quite a lot of games, but Prominence, definitely a really good week for them, going 6-2, and they are slowly moving up the table now from 9th to 8th, which was very difficult for them. Obviously, only sitting on 9 with the 6-2 week, and we'll just have to wait and see how much further they can climb.
Yeah, I do think there's so many good teams in this conference as well. The fact that Erebos are bottom with 7 wins, with a much needed 3-1 win against Arena, it just goes to show how close this tier is, with Ember on 12 wins being 6th in the conference. Is so close right now. And as Prominence showed, one sweep can just bring you up that little bit further. But we will head to Ignis. And Senju, will start with you on this one.
Absolutely. I mean, I've touched before on the two dominant teams in this conference, and it shows in the table. Uranium and Overkill have already secured themselves a 4-game lead over the next contender, which is Sorceress. And really, they seem to be the teams to look out for in this Ignis conference. After that, though, the field gets very open, and everything can happen at the moment. Obviously, Costa Creams and Comet both with a great week, going up a little bit, 2 and 3 places respectively. And they had to push someone down for this, which this week was Philos Echo and Journeyman.
Yeah, and I think Chung will be looking at this table and thinking, how can I push my team higher? Because it's not often we see Overture this low in a conference. But we head on to the fixtures. And 2 teams I just want to mention is Hydra and Journeyman. Both teams having a lot of roster issues right now. Hydra obviously cutting North and signing Echo, who then goes on inactive reserve for 3 weeks. So they're looking for another new player, and Journeymen as well. They've also lost Harvey. So a lot of rosters to build this week, Boopy. What fixtures do they have?
Yeah, so Hydra versus Safari. Safari, obviously a strong team. Hydra have a lot of difficulties at the moment. Obviously, they lost North, picked up Echo. I've heard Fleege as well, kind of availability, not really showing up for games and that sort of issues as well. So they are going to have to rush to find a player, and it's going to be kind of a difficult week for them, rushing to sign someone. Safari, obviously a good team. Custard Creams having a pretty decent week last week as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they perform. As well as I do have to mention Sorcerers having a little bit of a roster change, cutting Pepper. So I will be keeping my eye out on Sorcerers kind of week versus Concerto versus Fearless Echo. Obviously, teams that are quite lower down in the table compared to Sorcerers, but how will that cut really affect them, and who are they going to get to replace Pepper on that roster?
Yeah, and what fixtures are you seeing, Senju?
Oh, I am seeing the great admin clash. Erebos versus Toxin on Saturday, with Archeon being on one side and myself being on the other side. I think it's the only admin clash we are going to see in League play, unless people change teams, obviously, as Permanitan and Frizzle are in different conferences in Challenger. So I'm very much looking forward to that one. I've been told by Archeon he's going for an 8-0 week. In his 8-0 week, he faces both bottom side teams. So seeing that Toxin is in the first place currently, understandable goals, and I'm gonna make sure it's not gonna be an 8-0 week. I'm okay with it being a 7-1 week for you, but not an 8-0.
The big game for me, though, is Overkill versus Uranium. I think that's first
Definitely.
versus second in Ignis. And this is going to be the one that proves who is the early runners in the conference, if you can say. We are almost halfway into the season now, but yeah, I think whoever wins this will be looking to make a big statement on who's going to win league play. And BP, what do you think the outcome of that's going to be?
Well, it's going to be a very interesting one. A result to bring up that did just come in. Obviously, Uran and versus Montbéliard did just play. That was a 2-2, which is a quite interesting result. So, Montbéliard obviously a kind of a weaker-ish team than Overkill, so might be showing some sort of weakness. Overkill, I haven't really seen them play on stream. I haven't really seen who they've been playing against. I'm not sure how they are that high, but yeah, I'm not really sure how it will kind of face out. I'm kind of aiming for a 3-1, a 2-2, but I would just have to wait and see on the day. It really is about who kind of shows up on the day and who performs.
Yeah, I think Overkill have been the surprise package of the season, to be honest, in any tier, because Brandao and DP finished bottom of minor last season with the 50% of that roster. And all they've done is bring in Ipona and Lutix, and they're obviously joint top at the moment, so they'll be looking to carry on that form into the Uranium game. But we'll head on to Major now, and Senju, we'll start off with you here. And I have to start with Venom. They were second bottom this week, and they went 8-0. Tell us who they played.
Definitely. I mean, they were able to face off versus Prometheus and Megaman Cult, two teams that were, whilst they're playing it, sitting like in the middle of the table a little bit, more on the top of it, not quite on the whole top. So, what a resurrection you've made with your Venom team there. Dragged them out of the pits of the table up to the mid of the table. Great week, going 8-0. I think, yeah, that's the goal for every week, for every team. And only a few select teams are able to actually go with that. And then I think I also quickly want to mention on Zulu, beating up Gladiators with a sweep. And that was the top game of the conference this week. And what a surprise that it was a sweep, at least for me.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and Boopy. We head to you, and obviously I know you're going to want to big up Saturnia because it was a good week, and we saw them on stream, so tell us what happened to Saturnia this week.
Well, obviously, many roster changes on Saturnia, many reasons for that. 7-1 week, really good week for them. Yeah, I think it was, I'm going to sound like the biggest ego here, but I think it was very close to being an 8-0 week, this one. Jammy Dodgers, they really didn't look strong in that Saturnia versus Jammy Dodgers game, just always pushing kind of two people up past the ball, getting scored on in the counter, and they just didn't really learn from it. And yeah, a big turnaround for Saturnia. They have gone, I think it was from 8th or 9th, now sitting in second, kind of secured second. And yeah, I think all the roster changes have finally paid off. We got 3-4 players that are very strong, work together very well, and they're kind of ready and raring to go in this season.
Yeah, and one final team I do want to talk on is Bladesmiths. Now, a little birdie's told me that if Wolfie is watching this stream, I have to credit all the success to Sato and Duck and ignore Wolfie. So Sato and Duck doing bits for this team. They took down Zulu 3-1 and find themselves top of Ignis Senju.
They do. But if we go over to the standings, like one quick question. What is usually the closest tier, Archeon?
It is Major, and I know where you're going to come with this because I pointed it out in league discussion yesterday. So let's get Glacis out of the way first.
I forgot the order, my bad.
Yeah, so Boopy, tell us what's happening in Glacis. Obviously, Venom 8th to 3rd on head-to-head. Zulu top. But what other changes can you see?
Well, you say Zulu top. That was kind of a really unexpected result from me. Gladiators kind of looked like a very strong team out the gates. Kind of secured the top spot very early on with really high goals scored. So they looked like a very strong team. Obviously, getting swept by Zulu. Zulu kind of securing that top spot now, knocking Gladiators down. Tied for first, and a massive gap between second and third of what is that, 4 games between Megumin and Gladiators. And then the rest of it is quite close. Thanatos on 11, a 3-way tie, 6th, 7th, and 8th, all on 9 games. And then Genesis on 6, very low down the table, and they really need to start getting some games in.
Yeah, this Glacis table reminds me of the major Glacis last season as well, with how dominant the top two teams were so far. But as we head to Ignis, this is what I pointed out in league discussion yesterday on how close it was, and obviously Senji's skipping right to it. So go on, Senji. Look at that difference.
I gotta say, I didn't see you put it in league discussion yesterday, as I was downing one or two brewed teas. Um, but we are again in major, and again, it's just the closest it can be. I mean, we've got 4 games between first and last. Every team has changed their position this week, and it's just as close as it can be. And I couldn't predict who is going to separate itself. I think this is going to be, until the last week, going to be as close as it's now. Or maybe not quite as close, but still very close.
I mean, after all of Saturnia's roster changes, they've got the highest goal difference and the highest goals scored. You've also
But
got...
maybe there comes in another roster changes again down the line.
you've
Maybe Boop decides to swap out the team again.
Not
Who
gonna
knows?
happen. Not gonna happen this time, unfortunately.
The fact that a whole conference can be decided by one sweep from going from last to first, though, is so ridiculous on how close this tier is so far. And I feel like we discuss this every season on how major is, because it's always like this. But yeah, we'll head to the fixtures and see where the differences can be made in this following week. For some reason, we have results again. Let me just sort that out. Major schedule.
Giving us a little bit of a time.
There we go. I have been in work today, so some of these were set up at 4 a.m. this morning. So there you go. Here's the schedule. So, Senju, we'll start with you.
Definitely. I mean, if we look at the Ignis conference to begin with, I think every game is going to be great, because every game is going to be a neck and neck game. But no, obviously, pinpointing a few single ones. I am very much interested in Saturnia versus Necromancers, because currently they're at the top of the table, and that might be a game that can give some sort of difference between those two top teams at the moment. And then on the other hand, we've got like Jammy Dodgers that is gonna be able to face also against Necromancers that want to rise up that table, and if they sweep Necromancers, to take him over. So it's all in this week.
I am actually hearing in the chat that Megumin are actually beating Zulu 3-0 right now. Do you think the pressure has got to Zulu getting to the top spot after sweeping Gladiators?
Might be. Might be.
Megumin bouncing back strongly from the 4-0 loss to Venom, but Bupu, will head to you. What games can you pick out for me?
Well, for major, I'm fully biased. I have to admit. I really want to watch Saturnia versus Meteor and Saturnia versus Necromancers. I want to see kind of finally, as the roster is secured, I want to see how they perform against these other teams, because it is very close in Ignis. You can't really decide who is kind of the top team. Bladesmith's obviously sitting at the top at the moment, but Rhapsody as well, a really strong team that I have personally coached as well. So Bladesmith versus Rhapsody is going to be an interesting one for me as well. And then obviously I'm going to be kind of glued to the cross-conference game, seeing which conference is stronger. Jammy Dodgers versus Thanatos, that'll be interesting. And Gladiators versus Overtake. Both of those I'll definitely be keeping my eye out for.
And we head to Elite now. And Sindra, we'll start off with you. What games can you pick out? I think it's only fair that we start with Titan actually this week.
Oh, it most certainly is. I mean, Titan, another team that was able to go for 8-0 this week, and one of them in cross conference versus Giannina, one of them in conference duel versus Dogon. Both teams they faced are currently sitting in 8th place, so maybe not the hardest week on paper, but to deliver on that is still needed, and they've done well. And then one team that I found very interesting this week is Rias Legion, actually going 4-0 over Google Chrome, and then at the next game already getting swept by Hades. So I don't exactly know what happened to Ria's Legion, but maybe a little bit of inconsistency in that team.
Now, the next team I found interesting, though, Boopy, is Inferno. 50% of their roster got banned at the beginning of the week due to our new moderation rules, and then all of a sudden they get a bunch of, let's call them misfit FAs, because they didn't get a team until week 3, and they go 7-1.
Yeah, insane result from them. Hopex himself claiming Inferno, the new roster, stomping everyone, and kind of rightly so. 4-0 against Diamond Dust. Diamond Dust, obviously, a really, really solid team. And then the 3-1 against Google Chrome as well. Really, really good result for them. And, we'll just have to see in this next week how they perform, whether it's consistent, whether it's just kind of early doors. No one really knows how to play against them yet. But yeah, definitely looking like a strong team, and they are definitely going to climb up the table.
Yeah, beating Serve's team 4-0 on Diamond Dust is no mean feat. He is one of the best players in the tier, and yeah, for a team that was their first series together, they've done a brilliant job at getting Inferno up a bit more, as it just wasn't working with the other team. But Senji, what can you tell us in the Ignis side?
On the Ignis side of things, we've got again a few sweeps. One of them by Nocturne, who were able to sweep Asteroid and then go 2-2 versus Overwatch. So a great week by Nocturne, and another 4-0 by Oracles, and they were able to get another draw versus Jaffa Cakes. So very similar experiences for those teams able to sweep. Then Giannina was able to get a forfeit win, which is very sad that we have to see a forfeit, but I'm sure Heki is kind of happy about it, as Giannina is currently not at the top of the table, and that certainly helps them to get there.
Yeah, and we look at the elite standings in Glacis, and I have to go to the chat. It's my boy Friday, my 2IC for a while. He starts the week in 8th, goes 5-3, and ends the week in 9th. So an unfortunate run of results from other teams there. But what about the big movers this week? Obviously, we've touched on it in Inferno. What else can you tell us, Booper?
Yeah, Inferno, Hades, and Carnage all kind of moving up. Really good weeks for them. Hades, obviously, with that 4-0. And yeah, it's looking, kind of close. Titan and sitting four kind of away from second, so they're in a pretty safe position right now. But Carnage and Rias Legion both on 15, both kind of drawed for that second spot. And then, as we go down, Hades 13, Diamond Dust 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Perfect. But yeah, kind of one game away from each other. So it is very tight. It is very close in this Glaciers table at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this conference, I think we can pretty much say that Louis got the best team in Elite right now. Best win percentage, most wins, most goals scored, least goals against in this conference, and the goal difference is 46 already. Somehow Vector is a sub on that team, and he's 1735 or something around that line, or 1770. I can't remember his value. But yeah, we head to Ignis now, and Senji, what can you tell us in this side?
Similar to other tiers, we have the Ignis Conference be again the one that is a little bit closer, even with the exception of Fearless Alpha. They have the second least amount of games in the whole of the league, with only 3 games in 3 weeks. So I think Buddha definitely needs to change something for his elite roster, because whatever they do at the moment, it does not work at all.
Yeah.
Apart from that, we've got Iovi, Jaffa Cakes, and Oracles being able to move up the table a bit. Obviously, if you had to fall for that, but Nocturne sitting at the top and having a 2-game gap to the then 15, 14, 13, 12 is surely a little bit nice, but not to be safe. I mean, 2 games, that is basically nothing.
And also, you mentioned about Fearless Alpha. I think they do. They have actually made a roster change. I think they have cut their whole elite roster, and they have 3 kind of new players.
Four, I
One
think.
being 4. Oh, okay. Last time I looked, it was 3, but one a player I know of, Bexin. He plays in NA as well, and he's a really, really strong player there. So that is going to be interesting to watch. But I do have to mention my boys over at IOV. I haven't mentioned them on RSCast before, and they did have a full sub week this week. Our highest DSM player being ill for the whole week, not being able to play. And I think they went either 6-2 or 7-1. So, our sub putting in an insane performance and moving them into second, which I really, really did not expect from this week. Had to mention.
Yeah, it was 6-2, and they overtook Phoenix, who have been having a good run of results recently, but did just drop the standards a little bit this week. But I just want to talk about Jaffa Cakes as well. They're drawing a lot of series this season. I think they got 1 win and a draw this week. But as we look at the fixtures for this week, a result has just come in, and Meteor have 2-2 Jaffa Cakes. And also Carnage have got a 4-0 forfeit win off Google Chrome, so I'm not sure about the circumstances between Google Chrome and Carnage, but Jaffa Cake's looking to keep up their run of drawing series.
It appears that way, definitely.
So, Senji, what other games can you tell us about?
Well, this week I'm maybe a little bit biased, but I'm very much looking forward to the Hades versus Titan game. Hades at the start of the season being predicted 3rd in Glacies by those who made the predictions, which I think was you and Friday. Facing off versus the now at the moment strongest team. So I'm gonna be looking very much forward to that game. Apart from that, we've got a very interesting week for Diamond Dust, facing Carnage and Ria's Legion. It's going to be a hard week, but if they prevail there, they're going to move up the table definitely. So, a few very interesting games on the Glacier side this week.
Yeah, and just so we don't make it a biased cast for Boopy's teams, I'm going to get it out of the way first over on Ignis, and we've got Iovi versus Nocturne, and Nocturne versus Phoenix. It's our first, second, and third clash this week. So Ignis is going to be a very big conference this week. But what other games, other than those, Boopy, can you tell us about?
Oh, you've let me be biased, Archeon. You've let me be biased.
You've talked about them too much now. I've got to move on.
I actually wanna watch IOV versus Inferno. I want to see kind of how good Inferno is and how IOV really faces up against the teams in the other conference. Apart from that, Chianina versus Oracles, that's going to be quite an interesting one for me. I do believe they are looking for a roster change. They did cut Motion, their highest player, just wasn't really turning up to games. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of rebuild that roster and how they perform, especially going against Oracles, a very solid team in Ignis.
Yeah, Kyrie does just say, "Be right back" when Boopy talks about another franchise, and I did try and sway you off the Iovi, but you still somehow lent to there. But one I'm looking at this week is Asteroid versus Fearless Alpha. Asteroid coming off a 2-6 week, and Fearless Alpha cutting the whole roster. So Asteroid will be looking to bounce back, especially after getting a 2-2 draw against Jaffa Cakes, which is a solid result, as Jaffa are in 4th. But we go to Premier now. And after all the draws and everything that we had in week 1 and 2, what the hell happened in week 3? Senji.
Well, we've started off with 2 sweeps. Then we've went down a little bit from the harshness of the wins and just won by 3-1 twice. And then because they weren't decisive on who should take it and to make it a bit even, they've decided to go for a draw again. But yeah, Vibing obviously being a very strong team, able to take down Flame. Oreos as well, looking very good, and Canal maybe not as good at the moment. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, well, Oreos did find themselves bottom at the start of the week, and they 4-0 null to go up to, I think, 4th or 5th. So
Yeah,
Oreos put third, okay. So Oreos putting on a brilliant performance, but Boopy, I don't think we quite put enough significance on that sweep from Vibing on Flame.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know some people from Flame will talk about it being a new roster and them not playing together in that lineup before, but it is a 4-man team and you've got to use your sub, and we didn't expect a sweep against Flame. We expected Vibing to get sweeps in this competition, but definitely not against Flame.
Not at all. They did get top very early on, and they kept it for week 1, week 2. But Vibing, obviously a team we all love. Definitely one of the best teams in Premier at the moment, and getting a 4-0 against the top in the conference, I can't really see a bigger statement than that. Kind of putting a target on their back, saying, come and get us, because they've knocked Flame now down to 7th just from that win. They are only one away from second place at the moment, Vibing, but a huge statement from them this week.
Yeah, and we have to say that Flame have also cut Toxic as well. He has left the server. I think he's not playing the game enough, and I think they're bringing someone new in. So Flame going into next week with new expectations from a new roster, it seems. But we'll look at the standings and at how it affects them after that loss. And Boopy, tell us what you see.
Yeah, well, very, very close, but there's only one game a week, so it's expected to be close. But, we have 3 teams sitting on a tie right now in the middle of the table: Finale, Opera, and Overburn, all tied. Well, kind of goal difference, but tied on wins. Vibing, obviously in first. Luna kind of only one away. Oreo's only one away from that as well. So, results really, really do matter in this Premier tier. And it's just going to come down to consistency. Can you get these good results kind of consistently throughout the weeks? Because if you have a poor week in Premier, such as, Flame did, it drops you so far down the standings. And it's really quite like volatile at the moment. Teams are definitely, dropping and rising a lot and switching places. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, Flame dropping from first to 7th, I think, and also Null were third in week 1 and dropping to 9th. So very brutal tier. And Oreos, I'm still yet to see what they can do in the future weeks, because you spend 2 weeks near the bottom and then suddenly fly up to 3rd. Same with Overburn going up to 6th. After losing to Null in week 1, you'd expect Overburn to be one of the lower teams because we predicted Null low. But it's all to play for in this tier, and it just goes to show how good this tier is at the end of the day. Did you see the fixtures for next week, though, Senji? And tell us what you see on this one.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, it's gonna be a very interesting game between I think Oreos and Finale, 3rd versus 4th. They're one game separated between each other. Then also Warlocks and Knull, again, one game separating both teams. And as we only have that one game per week for all of those teams, every single game matters very much. So, in the end, all of those games are going to be great to watch if they're on stream, because, well, it's Premiere and those guys can actually play the game. And because due to the way it's played, it's very interesting, and every game actually matters way more just from a feeling point of view compared to when we have 2 games a week.
Yeah, apparently Louis in the chat says Luna versus Overburn has already happened, and it was a 3-1 win to Luna. So go and report the score, Forehead. But yeah.
But yeah, moving into first place for a night at least.
At least one night.
Moving into first place indeed. But the game for me this week is Orioles versus Finale. Finale have had come off the back of, I think, 2 bad results. And Orioles going from 10th to 3rd. So yeah, I think that's going to be the game of the week for me. Have you guys got any game of the week preferences?
I personally, I kind of have, obviously all of the games are going to be good, but I'm really interested in kind of Obviously, vibing. I really want to watch play. They're definitely my favorite team in Premier. Just watching them play. The first kind of Premier game I casted, you can tell they're one of the top teams. But also kind of looking at Flame and Null's game, Flame versus Vulcan, Null and versus Warlocks. They're quite low on the tables. They really need to kind of get a good result in that game, and seeing how they kind of pull it out the bag, get a good result, and hopefully move up the table. So those kind of three are really interesting for me.
And speaking of moving up the table, we have the franchise standings, and Senji, you're getting ever so closer to that target. I'll let you speak about this one.
I am. Obviously, at the start of the season, I've set out my target to be top 10. I've started the season off week 1 in 18th place, going into 15th, now in 11th. It's going up the table, and it's feeling good. It's feeling good, especially with the challenger roster just being the beasts they are apparently, which I honestly did not expect. I see at least 8 wins from those teams next week, which is going to propel even further up the table.
And Boopy, I heard someone went from 10th to 3rd, and he's catching you.
Yeah, I bet you thought I was going to be biased here, but I actually was going to, give my congratulations. You can tell, most of kind of the franchises at the very top are in the other conference, kind of claim the easier conference. But Symbiote's, going from 10th to 3rd this week, sorting out a few roster things and just having an amazing week. What was it, Archeon? I forgot the
I think we went 28 for 12 without Premier.
Okay. Yeah. So
But,
really solid.
but we had 4. I've been stuck in work for the first 2 weeks, and I had 4 teams messaging me saying they weren't happy. And we've just gone from strength to strength this week. But we can't slip up on Overture as well, because Chung's doing a massive job again this season, and Dark Magic.
Yeah, definitely very, very kind of far from the top, and it's a pretty kind of safe top 4 at the moment. The gap between 5th and 4th, quite high, 8 games, so it's going to be difficult to kind of catch and break into that top 4. But kind of System Solaris do have a pretty solid lead, 4 wins. Obviously, can definitely be taken. Not really running away with it, but yeah, definitely solid. Definitely a solid lead for them. And it is very close, kind of moving down, Ignite, Luna, Override, Fort Templar, 59, 59, 59, 60. Everyone's kind of a few games away. So, one bad week, one good week, it's all going to shift. It's all going to change. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens this week.
Yeah, indeed. And any more passing thoughts on this, Senji, before we move over to the guest?
Nope, let's move to the guest.
Okay, I was hoping you would say something else so I could actually have time to DM him, but yeah, okay.
I can say many things.
Go on
then. Things? Many things.
Oh, well, we have to congratulate Confectionery. Obviously, they were 18th.
Definitely.
Moving up to 15th. Congratulations to them. Kind of sorting out a few issues. Yeah.
And I gotta say, I really hope that Ox Gaming is gonna be able to get out of that unfortunate 18th position. But maybe we now find out the reason to why I was down that bad last season. Maybe. Just kidding, Heki, I love you.
Yeah, and we have to move on about speaking about the bad, because we can't say anything bad about this guy. And it is QX5Z, our lovely Scouser. He's now a minor player, not a major player, and mod, and he currently plays for the Fallen Angels. But welcome, QX.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Good. So, BP, I'll let you start off with any questions that you might have for QX.
Well, we've got to love QX. Massive part of the community. One of the best mods as well. Teaching me how to be a great mod. But one thing I was going to ask is, obviously starting off really high minor this season, kind of moving into major. How do you really find major compared to that minor, because it really is well, obviously it's a different tier, but it's a different tier of gameplay, a lot faster, more consistent. And how did you really find it?
I haven't played any minor games at all, so I can't really put an emphasis on minor matches. However, um, major was fun, especially with Cans of Oaken official. Of top of major, playing very well. So yeah, it made me fit easier and fit in their system, and we were first after week 1, so big dub.
Yeah, damn, really good results, very good teammates as well. Obviously, insane performance last season. I'll pass it over to you guys. I am awful with coming up with questions, but yeah.
Sure. I mean, I don't know how many new people are in chat that haven't been that much involved with the RSC so far, and you coming in as a mod, could you kind of explain to those people coming in new, maybe even new to Discord, to what you do for the RSC as a mod?
As a mod, we basically just see if anyone needs help. Say if someone joins and they need help, one of the mods will help them out. If there's any arguments, we stop it. Basically just control in general, seeing how the community is, and if there's any suggestions, we take that into consideration and we move from there.
Wonderful. I'll pass the ball over to Archeon.
Oh damn! Your questions are quick tonight. You're leaving it all on me, aren't you?
Oh, you can pass it back if you want.
I have a
I'm just passing
I've
it
been
over.
in work for 13 hours. I was hoping on you to carry me tonight. But
Yeah, sure.
QX, one question I did think of while I was at work is what made you join the RSC and why do you like it so much? Because you've obviously been a staple in RSC for around 2 seasons now, maybe 3.
Yeah. Well, I actually joined off Pedicle, and I was around. Rip Pedicle. He's gone now. After I joined, I really liked the idea of like a league, and how this league system runs on the 4 matches. It's really good. It's interesting. It's different. So with that like unique part of RSC, it's made me stay around a lot longer than I should have.
Is there anything else other than the 4-game series that you like seeing run? Obviously, you're a staff member. You see what goes on in the background.
Yeah, from top to bottom of staff, everyone's like a community. So like everyone's friends, everyone's like happy with each other. Especially how it's run, I feel like it stops out any toxicity getting into the league. And how the rules are, it's more community based. So like people are able to come together, so new people can feel welcome when they are joining.
Yeah, and Boopy, I think you said you had another question.
Oh, I do. Well, I have to ask my classic RSCast question. Q, who's your top three coaches in RSC? Would you say?
So first is Hybrid, second is Data Light, and the third is Minty.
Right.
Boopy just got egoed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Banana, for the gifted sub. I'm sure that's why Sendi's got his glasses on upside down.
Yeah.
Right. Get him gone. Get him gone.
I will not do a backflip, Yannick.
Sendi, do you
Oh,
have
God.
any closing questions for Q?
Definitely. Obviously, also coming in from the islands and being a Scot yourself, how do you feel about being able to have that many community members, not just from the British Isles, where obviously everyone speaks English or some sort of English, but also all these other cultures coming into it? How
Can I
did
just ask,
that?
did you call QX a Scot?
Yeah, wait,
He's
Scouser,
a
isn't that
Scouser.
Scottish?
No.
Oh no!
He's a
Wait, what?
Liverpudlian. he,
Yeah.
Oh,
he
I
looks
always
over the
thought
island of
Scout-
Birkenhead.
I'm so sorry. I always thought Scouser was meaning Scottish people.
It pretty much is. I mean,
Oh.
it's on the border.
Sorry for the offence, QX.
It's alright.
But yeah, it goes with the same. Question still works.
Yeah, just meeting people from new places is a very fun thing. It's very exciting, especially the many Scottish people in RSC. It's good to see.
We
You,
just
of
need to
course,
show
know
some
that one.
kilts now in general, don't we? We've got the full Scottish vibe. But yeah, I was gonna close with a final question. Have you got any tryouts planned, and are you looking to join another team in minor? I know you stepped down from major because of the fast pace of it.
Um, well, luckily for me, two teams are looking for spots at the moment, which is Dark Magic and Forg. So at the moment, so hopefully going to them too, and hopefully getting in a roster by the end of next week. That'd be fun.
Okay, guys, you heard it here first. QX is begging for your services, and he wants a team. But maybe one thing you could do to get that spot. Can you burst out the bagpipes for us?
I don't think
I think we'll
I don't think
stop with the Scottish puns now, and we'll let you go back to your island of Scotland. But yeah, thanks for joining us, QX.
No
It's nice
worries.
to have
Thank
you on.
you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Love
you.
you, QX.
Love you, BP. Bye bye.
I hate him. He egoed me.
I
I'm only
Okay,
messing.
but this is where we come to the awards part of the show, and do you just want to get straight into clip of the week?
Let's go.
Let's go.
I want you to stay. 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 I want you to stay.
Oh,
Well,
what
well.
were those? Some beautiful goals, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean they're all so good. I can't really pick between them. Loads of flip resets. The first goal really solid for Challenger as well. Um, if I had to pick, obviously we all know the third goal is the best, Saturnia scoring. But no, if I had to pick, I think I would go for number 2. I think I'd go for Minor. It's all kind of flip resets. Flip resets goals. I think number 5 was very good. It was a very long kind of aerial one, which was quite impressive for me. But I think I would go for number 2. It is that tier below, and they're still pulling off those kind of mechanics. But I do have to shout out, Saturnia, goal number 3, amazing stuff. Everyone vote for them in the poll.
Yeah, no, I gotta say, I honestly don't know what I would want to vote this time. It was a very high quality of clips this week, and I don't feel like any one of those would deserve not to win it, if you know what I mean. Every one of those clips was absolutely class, and I don't think I'm gonna vote because I don't know which one I should.
Well, I'm going to do the Boopy bias from last week, and I'm going with Minty all day long for this one. He just improves every season, and I've seen him hit that clip with an improvement every season. So, yeah, for me, it's goal number 4, I think.
Yeah, I think it's very, very close between 3, 4, and 5. I think number 5 was really impressive to me, just how kind of far he had to go to get the flip reset, get it in. Obviously, minor as well. Impressive for that tier. Taking it over 2, finding the back of the net, and Challenger, the Challenger goal as well, really good for Challenger. So all really, really good goals. It's very, very difficult to choose this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, and everyone has about 40 seconds remaining to do the poll. Would you like us to play the montage again?
I would love to see the montage again.
Play.
I want you to stay. 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 I want you to stay.
Honestly.
And there we have it, guys. That is your clip of the week, and we do have a winner. It is very, very close.
We have.
But in 5th place, we have Dark Magic Major with 2 votes. In 4th place, we have Alias Challenger with 3 votes. It was a very good goal for Challenger, good double tap. 3rd is Sim Major. Minty only getting 4 other votes, surprising for me. I thought it was a very good goal. But Sol Major 2nd with 10. And winning it all, Kairu, Uru Minor, playing against my team. I told my team to just dive on Kairu whenever he had the ball in the air. No one did, and then he takes it over 2 of us at the end. So well done, Kairu, for clipping on me, especially. Congratulations.
That's why I didn't vote for minor.
We all like to clip on you, Archeon.
You won't be this week. Ooh.
Yeah, we haven't finished that game yet.
But yeah, that is your winner. But we have a fail of the week as well, and I think everybody in the server knows what is coming up.
Oh,
If you
boy,
saw the
what is
stream
coming?
game the other day,
Okay, good.
I think everyone knows what this is, and we're still yet to give him a 1-match suspension. Still undecided on a ban. But should we go straight into the fail of the week?
Show me, because I think I don't know what's it gonna be.
Okay, here we go.
expected to watch today.
I think credit where it's due. They've actually played better and
Oh! I am disappointed in my player. I'm sorry, Turtle there. Expected to watch today.
I think credit where it's due. They've actually played better and
Oh! I am disappointed in my player. I'm sorry, Turtle there. Expected to watch.
And there we have it, guys. The fail of the week. How can anyone break that? All he had to do was let it hit himself, and it'd bounce over his car. Surely everyone knows if you jump there and break it, the other person is driving forward, so it's going to hit them anyway.
Yeah.
Just another
Disgusting.
question. How are we still undecided about if that's a ban or not?
Well, sources say it might have lost him his team of the week. For legal reasons, that's a joke before Boopy gets an evil look in his eyes. He was close, but that wasn't the reason. But yeah, speaking of weekly awards, we will go straight into it. And I need two of you to be hype men for the awards. I will do team of the week, but you guys can switch between players of the week if you like.
Let's do
I'm
it.
as hype as ever.
I'm
Do you want to start, Poopy?
ready to go.
So here we are with Prospect.
Wow, starting out with Prospect, our MVP for this week is AJ47 with 468 points per game. Finisher of the week is Xenogenesis. I actually kind of nailed that. Thought I would butcher that name, but 1.63 goals per game. Very good stuff from him. Striker of the week being Acronix, 100% shooting accuracy. Every goal this man scores. So, playmaker being Mr. Benzi, 1 assist per game. And savior of the week being SBN_Jason with 2.13 saves per game.
Absolutely. And moving into Challenger, for the MVP, we've got the one and only Twisted with 522 points per game. Most goals were scored by the same average by few people, but Tomo takes it via the tiebreakers. Striker with a 75% shooting accuracy was Squill. Tani was the playmaker for his team and for this week with 1.5 assists per game. And the big savior of the week goes to Arconix, 2.29 saves per game.
Moving on to minor, we have MVP Hoggy with 540.25 points per game. Finisher also Hoggy with 2 goals per game. And striker also Hoggy, 66.67% shooting accuracy. Wonderful stuff from him this week. Playmaker being the wonderful Axel himself, 1.50 assists per game. And savior being Nono77, 2.5 saves per game.
Moving on to major, to the close tier. Let's see how close the players of the week were. MVP is going to Noyur with 522 points. The finisher was JB Gaming with 1.88 goals per game. With a 70% shooting accuracy, Cakes takes the striker cake. Playmaker of the week goes to Rollback Noodles with his 1.63 assists per game. And again, Noor with 2.75 saves per game takes the savior crown.
And moving on to Elite, we have our MVP this week being Ols with 562.20 points per game. Finisher of the week, Leviathan, 2 goals per game. Striker of the week, Vector, 63.64% shooting accuracy. Playmaker being Ols, 1.63 assists per game. And Savior being Heinz Ketchup 03, 2.5 saves per game.
Wonderful. And now for the final tier, the highest tier, Premier. Let's see. Yotam has gotten 495 points per game, crowning himself the MVP. The most goals per game was scored by Acidic, taking the finisher crown. With a staggering 80% shooting accuracy, Asa Senpai takes the striker. Playmaker this week was Gek with 1.5 assists per game. And the savior, same as the MVP, goes to Yotam with 2.5 saves per game.
And on to team of the week. And this was the hardest one I've had to do for a while. There was a choice of a couple of people in minor and major. But here we are with Prospect, and it's AJ47 for Prelude with 468 points per game. 1.25 goals, 40% shooting, 0.63% assists, 1.88 saves, and 0.75 demos. In Challenger, it is Tomo of Chorus going that 7-1 week and pushing him to the top of the table. 386 points per game, 1.5 goals, 36% shooting, 0.25 assists, 0.63 saves, and 0.75 demos. In minor, this could have gone to multitude of people, but obviously we saw Hoggy top of the players of the week, but he only played 4 games, and we felt that Certifiable just edged it by playing all 8 and winning 6 of them, going from bottom to, I think, 5th or 6th. So Certifiable is your team of the week. 439 points per game, 1.25 goals, 40% shooting, 0.63 assists, 1.88 saves, and 0.25 demos. In Major, this was a choice between 2 people, and that was Minty and JB Gaming. Minty going 8-0, but JB Gaming going 7-1. And after the multitude of roster changes on Saturnia, getting around 4,000 points, edged this for him. 414 points, 1.38 goals, 33% shooting, 0.38 assists, 1.5 saves, and 0.13 demos. In Elite, it is Ols, and he's just dominated the tier. There's only one choice, and that was 562 points, 1.75 goals, 44% shooting, 1.63 assists, 1.63 saves, and 1 demo per game. And in Premier, it is Yotam pushing Aureoles from 10th to 3rd, 495 points, 1 goal per game, 29% shooting, 1 assist, 2.5 saves, and 2 demos. And we move on to the Fantasy League standings, and Boopy, this one's yours.
Ooh, so Fantasy League Elite Managers of the Week, we have Vector taking the top spot, 370.25 points. Ol sitting in second, 355 points, and Darky sitting in third at 328 points this week. Players of the week being Ols, Lowndes, and Zaki. 3 strong players, and manager standings at the moment, Vector taking the top spot. Axos, I believe, pushed down into second, and Darky taking that 3rd spot. But moving over to Premier Managers of the Week, Yo-Yo himself with 165 points, I do believe. Oldham taking the 2nd spot, followed by Andre. Players of the Week being Spectre, Yotam, and Acidic. But Sky still sitting on that top spot. Oldham still taking the number 2 spot, and Kebabs sitting in number 3.
And this one yours again, Boopy.
This one's mine again. Well, series of the week is going to be Scorn versus Epsilon this week. A very, very good match. One, I was really hyped going into Scorn, obviously with the roster changes. First time they were playing, actually, I think second time they were playing their kind of main roster. So really, really good game for them. It did end up in a 2-2, quite deservedly, and a lot of kind of twists and turns in that series. Yeah, we all voted on it, and it took the top spot as our favorite this week.
Yeah, we will just clarify that the social media committee do have a vote on this in Discord, and that is how the series of the week is determined. I don't have an input, so no bias here. And we stopped Boopy from picking Uranium Nurse's Journeyman as well.
I thought it was an entertaining series. But yeah, well, you know, Scorn versus Epsilon, still a good match. So
yeah, but that is all we have time for tonight. And I just want to thank Boopy and Senji for coming on here as well. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
And we hope you join us back here for the week 4 recap next Monday. We will be getting the stream polls out after this stream. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this RScast and have a good night. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
See ya!
ride or die. I keep boys by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Cody's brothers, my guys. Know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. CJ Ike, now I gotta